The concept of black and white video obviously came from a time when we were not able to shoot in color, and the first films and movies that we ever saw that were ever created were all shot on black and white film, a lot of times with even no sound, but even after sound was entered in. But for years and years and years, black and white was really the only option until color film came on the scene in the early 1900s, and it started to become more of a standard to shoot films in color. But even that was slow and slowly adopted, and over time black and white has then become more of a stylized choice as opposed to a necessity or like the only way. And today we see black and white used in Hollywood a lot with recent films like Thor: Love and Thunder. That whole scene with Gore the God Butcher, that was on that planet. It was all black and white, and it was really cool, and it was really impactful. Arguably one of my favorite scenes of the film because it really separated and it looked really cool. We saw a variant of black and white with Doom Part 2 this year. It wasn't exactly black and white, it was more infrared. It was kind of complicated to explain, but it was a different variant away from full color. It did have a black and white vibe to it. It wasn't exactly that technically, but it was something very similar. You even see it in WandaVision, where the first few episodes of the show are in black and white to emulate an old school 50s, 60s, 70s sitcom. And it's a really cool way to get you to feel something different using color as opposed to using sound or the music or different things like that. It's another way to get a different point across. So we see this a lot in Hollywood, but I don't ever see small creators, I feel like, or small filmmakers or independent filmmakers use black and white as much as we maybe could, or use it as a tool. Like for myself included, I have a black and white conversion LUT in my LUT packs that a lot of you guys use. I had it in there originally because I wanted to have a black and white option if I wanted to use it, but I don't find myself using it a lot. So a couple months ago, I decided to mess around shooting some black and white with my friend Nemo. I never really did anything with it. It made it to Instagram, I believe, but nothing beyond that. And I kind of wanted to break down the black and white idea, how I think it's super cool. For me, there's three main reasons I would use black and white in a film. I'm gonna start with number one being story. Obviously, you can use a black and white look to enhance your story or take your story in a different direction if you want people to feel a certain way or depict a certain emotion or simulate an older time period. All of these things you can use black and white for, and those are great reasons to do so. It's a great opportunity to always enhance your story, freshen things up, do something different, and black and white is a killer option for that. The other reason you can use black and white is if your environment is not the best, meaning if the walls in the building that you're in are a color that you don't really love and they're kind of doing a weird color cast on your talent's face. That's my situation in my apartment. The walls are kind of this off yellow color. It's not exactly my favorite, and sometimes when I have light in the room, it wants to kind of cast this green yellow hue, and I don't really love that. So in this particular intro that you guys saw where I went black and white, it eliminated all that, but my lighting stayed the same. The effects of my lighting were there, the sources were the same, but the color was stripped away. And in that environment, it was easier, and it still worked within the narrative to take color out and just go black and white, and it made it feel much more dramatic and much more interesting as opposed to full color. So in that situation, doing it for your environment is a great reason to also use black and white. You don't want to use it as a crutch. Obviously, you want to make sure that you can get your lighting as best as possible, but sometimes you don't have that luxury. You have some weird colored walls. You have a weird situation where you don't love the colors in the set. You can always go black and white as that option. And then the third and final reason for me is just to freshen things up, to try something different. I think filmmaking is all about trying new things, creating new inspiration by trying things you've never done before or you don't do often. And I feel like black and white is a great way to do that. You have to think about a lot of things differently when shooting black and white. Composition can change to fit the style. You have to worry about exposure, make sure you get that right, because you don't want to overly dark contrasty image with black and white. It can get too crushed and too grungy really fast. And there's also different ways you can tweak black and white footage to give it a certain feel. You can adjust the hues to make it lean a little cooler. You can lean a little warmer black and white. There's all these different things that can affect emotion. Like in that intro you guys saw, it was kind of a cloudy, rainy day. The cooler tones that I chose really leaned into that setting, and it really added to the narrative, the little narrative that we were creating of someone kind of sad, down, depressed, whatever, frustrated. All of those things really added to the narrative, on top of adding in the film grain a little more heavy than I normally would use. Really gave it this kind of old, visceral, raw, but also being very emotional feeling. And it was cool to kind of flex that muscle and try something different. Experimenting and trying things new are a great way to sharpen your skills. So that would be my third reason. So mess around with some black and white footage, create a little story, create a little narrative, a small script, or implement it into some of your work that's more narrative based or where you feel like it'll really work, and see how you like it. It's good to try something new. It's good to always try to kind of innovate within your own skill set as a filmmaker. It's how you get better and continue to grow. So that's it. That's today's video. I wanted to give you guys a creative challenge to maybe try some black and white footage. Let me know in the comments below if you decide to do so. And also, if you need a good LUT to get you to black black and white, you can check out my C-Log 2 and 3 LUT packs. I have black and white conversion LUTs there. They're really solid, and I use them to grade the little short that you saw at the beginning of this video. It was super easy, just one click and you're in black and white, and then you can kind of adjust your contrast levels from there accordingly, depending on what you're going for. If you want more of a darker, contrasty look, you can do that, or if you want a more lighter, you can go with that route as well. So thank you guys so much for watching. Hit that like and subscribe button if you enjoy filmmaking and you want to be a part of this journey. It really helps out the channel a lot. Let me know in the comments that you're here and what you think about using black and white footage. But that's all I got for you. I appreciate you. I'll catch you in the next one.